I'm Chanika, and this is my brother, Charlie. We are chimps, and we're going to show you some interesting landmarks on the continent of Africa. The Bazaruto Archipelago is a chain of islands that are spread out over a long distance along the eastern coast of Mozambique. Mozambique is a country in Southeast Africa and sits along the Indian Ocean. The islands consist of Bazaruto, Bangura, Magaruke, Banku, Santa Carolina, Shell, and Nyati. We're going to use a special boat to help us go from island to island. The islands are close to the mainland Mozambique city of Vilanculo. What is an archipelago? Charlie sees an odd-looking sailboat. What is that? He asks Chanika. She responds, "We'll be using a special boat called a dhow. There's a lot of water between the islands of an archipelago, and we'll be able to sail very fast from one island to the next." He says, "What is an archipelago?" Chanika explains, "It's a chain of several islands that stretch from one point to another. The islands of an archipelago can go north to south, east to west, or just about in any direction. But they are always a chain of islands." Charlie asks, "Can an archipelago be out in the middle of an ocean?" Chanika replies, "Yes, or it can be close to a mainland. Usually an archipelago is part of the nearest country." The two chimps will be exploring each island of the Bazaruto Archipelago, a part of Mozambique. Where is the Bazaruto Archipelago? The Bazaruto Archipelago is located off the eastern coast of Mozambique. The archipelago is near the mainland city of Vilanculo, also on the coast of Mozambique. Charlie asks, "Are we sailing in the ocean?" Chanika responds, "This eastern coast of Mozambique, as well as its archipelago, lie in the Indian Ocean. If they sailed east away from Mozambique towards Madagascar, they would be crossing the Mozambique Channel, which is part of the Indian Ocean." Chanika wants to test Charlie. What is the fourth largest island in the world? Charlie thought for a little while, trying to remember the map of the world he had on his laptop. Suddenly, he remembered. Madagascar is the fourth largest island in the world, but our Bazaruto Archipelago is much smaller. What is the Bazaruto Archipelago National Park? The two chimps are on their way through an archipelago, but it is also a national park. The Bazaruto Archipelago was made into a national park on May 25, 1971. It is a protected area off the coast of Inhambane and the Vilanculos districts of Mozambique. So the national park is made up of islands and also the waters around 6 islands. Suddenly, Charlie yells, "What is that?" They look, and it is something fat and under the boat. Chanika says, "Oh, I know what that is. It is a dugong. It's a large water mammal." The national park protects dugongs and sea turtles because there aren't many left. "Look," says Charlie, "it's a sea turtle." So the two chimps are having good luck today, seeing both a dugong and a sea turtle. One of the reasons the archipelago was made into a protected park was to make it safe for sea turtles and dugongs. Like dugongs, sea turtles have become very rare. Bazaruto. During the colonial period, when many European countries conquered lands all over the world, Portugal was the European country that claimed Mozambique. Bazaruto is called Ilha do Bazaruto. It is pretty easy to figure out what this Portuguese name means. Chanika says, Ilha means island in Portuguese. Some of the islands of the Bazaruto Archipelago are all sand and some are rock. Bazaruto is sandy. Where did all of the sand come from to form an entire island? Asks Charlie. Chanika answers, it comes from a river called the Save River. Bazaruto is the largest island in the Bazaruto Archipelago and in the Bazaruto National Park. Bangura. Bangura Island is the second biggest island in the Bazaruto Archipelago. This island broke off from the mainland thousands of years ago. The Portuguese explorers called the island Santo Antonio. It is one of the most beautiful islands in the Bazaruto Archipelago. Chanika and Charlie are going to try to do something that they've never done before. There's horseback riding on Bangura, and they want to give it a try. The horses sure look big, says tiny Chanika. When they finish their exciting ride, they decide to check out the great coral reefs and all of the incredible flora and fauna below the surface of the water all around the island. Bazaruto. Bazaruto Island used to be called Ilha Santa Isabel. Can you guys guess what those Portuguese words mean? Charlie says, I remember that Ilha means island. Santa... Chanika says, what's another name for Santa Claus? How about St. Nicholas? So it's the island of St. Isabel. There are many fishermen and boats on this island. Chanika tells Charlie more about the boat that they are using. This is a special boat called a dhow. It is a sailboat with one or more masts. The tall, straight poles that hold up the sails. Chanika knows a lot about dhows. They have been used in the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean by Arab traders for hundreds of years. They are still used today, and you can see them mostly at harbors around the Indian Ocean. So this is the kind of boat that the two chimps are going to use to travel from island to island. Banku. For once, Charlie knows something that Chanika doesn't know. Charlie says you can spell the name of this island one of two ways, Banku or Bangu. It lies very close to the Mozambique mainland and is very small. It lies in the Inhambane district of Mozambique. Charlie asks, does anyone live here? Chanika answers, this island is uninhabited, but we can still explore it on short visits. There are waterfalls here, and fishing is very popular. Visitors enjoy walking on the beach and discovering things like pink flamingo feathers, and on the ocean floor, they find giant starfish. They also see many dhows and other fishing vessels. The dhows probably originated with the Arab culture. Santa Carolina. This time, Charlie tests Chanika. Can you remember what Santa means? Yes, she answers. Santa is the Portuguese word for saint. So now, in the distance, they can see Santa Carolina. It is a small island between the mainland of Mozambique and the larger Bazaruto Island. While some of the islands of the Bazaruto Archipelago are made up of sand, Santa Carolina is a rock island with deep channels. It has several beaches, and the coral reefs are very close to the shoreline, so they are easy to get to, even for two chimpanzees. They want to try to swim. Santa Carolina is the gem of the archipelago, so it has a very special nickname, Paradise Island. Shell. Why do they call this island Shell Island? The answer is pretty simple, and the chimps say, shells! at the same time. They are also tiny shells that you can only see at low tide. The island has a nickname. It is also known as Pansy Shell Island. Chanika asks her brother, "Do you know what a pansy is?" He doesn't. So she explains, "It's a small, colorful flower with 5 petals." On Pansy Shell Island, you can find the skeleton of this shell. They are related to sea urchins and are usually called sand dollars. There are many sand dollars in an area of Shell Island called Plettenberg Bay, but there were not so many in the past. They became an endangered species in 1973. Since then, the numbers of sea urchins, the skeleton of sea urchins, and sand dollars have increased. Nyati Island. Over some deafening noise, Charlie asks his older sister, "What's that?" "Oh, that's just a helicopter," says Chanika. "But it's flying lower than they usually do." To get to Nyati Island, there is a helicopter ride from Vilanculos, a city on the coast. Chanika adds, Vilanculos is also known as Vilanculo. The chimps notice that the island is especially beautiful, which explains why so many people take a helicopter to Nyati for their wedding. Chanika says the palm trees, white sand beaches, and blue waters are very inviting. They set out to check out the incredible reef. Charlie says, "So many colors! Not just the fish, but the corals too. You have to hold your breath for a long time." This reef exploration was a little difficult, but definitely worth the effort. The siblings see a shark! Interesting facts. Santa Carolina is also known as Paradise Island. Bazaruto is 22 miles long. Fishing is the main source of food as well as the source of income. Mozambique gained its independence in 1975. The current population of Bazaruto Island is about 2,300. There are more than 2,000 fish species, 100 hard, and 27 soft coral species. The Bazaruto Archipelago has the great distinction of being the world's largest fringing reef, 4 whale species, and 5 dolphin species. Because the channels off the coast of Mozambique are so deep, they make big game fishing for marlin and sailfish some of the best in the world. Earlier in history, the area around the archipelago and mainland Mozambique were known for gold, slaves, and ivory trading, and pirates. Because of the Portuguese colonial rule, many of the food dishes are influenced by Portuguese cooking and spices. Peri-peri, which are hot and spicy shrimp, and peri-peri chicken. There are many community projects as well as eco-friendly developments which make eco-travelers happy, helping to clean the environment as part of your holiday.